you. So, welcome, Kurt. Are you getting dressed, Kurt?
I am actually for all these fine ladies and everything. I'm sorry, I didn't expect to flash you, this bare-chested man or whatever.
We're just going to do a quick blurb about what we're doing, and then Rita's going to open the circle.
Beautiful.
Okay. So, welcome to the Peace Lab. This is an experiment, so we would love the fact that we get to experiment, which means we never know what's going to happen, and we expect the unexpected. So that has been our motto from the beginning of this, and we're going to stick to it. And we've been sitting in the design of this for really only 4 or 5 weeks. It's like even less as we get really deep into the design, because we said before we knew what we were saying, oh yes, we can do 5 days on Humanity Rising. But we have so much beautiful collaboration in this space that it's been a beautiful journey as we gather and understand how we share our gifts. So, as you know, I think I sent it out that the fact we're exploring 5 intersections, and this one is the 4th intersection. And so you can imagine that there'll have been 3 of these very interesting dialogues down different paths that will have gone on. And we're kind of hoping that anyone who's in day 4 would have looked at day 1, 2, and 3, because it will inform you where the community is moving and being mobilized and inspired from what's taking place. So when it came to our 4th intersection, we said, okay, we've got so many incredible contributors. We would love to actually understand better what these offerings are that would allow us to weave the tale of humanity rising in this moment. So through the intersection of spirituality, reality, and intention. And it's not the past, it's the intersection of them. That's the important part of our design for the week, is that we understand all these things, such as trauma, compassion, and economy, but what's the intersection of them? And that becomes the interesting place to go and skate into. So that's why we thought it would be a great idea to get together all those that had contributed with their gifts and offerings, that we could see and hear into each other's offering, so that we could see and hear into what may be underneath all of this that is being asked or being invited into day 4 for Humanity Rising next week. We did a session an hour or so ago, and we had 20 plus people sharing their offerings, and in a collaborative co-design about what might that look like. And that's recorded, and you're going to get to see that recording, and then we'll be sending out this recording to them, and we will then be able to, all of us, appreciate what is this that we're being invited to explore a week Thursday. Okay, so that is the blurb. Kurt, is there anything more that you want to say in terms of what's brought us here to this moment in time for the Peace Lab?
Oh my goodness, you are always so articulate. It's hard to, go beyond what you ever say. And what I'm so blessed with is all the hearts that are here, the intentions that are here. And this intention is getting to be that big bonfire instead of just a little bit of a fire. And this is what's going to ignite the world. And it's been transforming and intensifying ever since we brought this forth. And a lot of issues have always come up, and all the issues get to be cleared because of that incredible heart that's present with all of us. And thank you, thank you, thank you. I welcome you with all my love.
Beautiful. Rita, would you like to open the circle?
Yes. Well, I always like to begin with all of us placing our hands on our heart, whatever way we want to acknowledge our heart, because the Peace Week is about bringing the world into harmony individually, all cultures into harmony, all continents into harmony. And I'm sitting on Mount Tam. I'm welcoming the spirits from the mountain here, which is just across from the Golden Gate Bridge. And there was an ancient prophecy that the personal development, human potential movement would start here between Mount Diablo, which is to the east of me, and Mount Tamalpais. And it began here with the spiritual and conscious revolution in the 60s. So all these spirits are welcoming us, and we're welcoming them because they are very powerful here in this Native American land. And I always say thank you to the spirits for their contribution for being here today with us.
Matakuyasin, all our relations.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So this is a circle. So one person is going to begin the circle and be sharing into the space the offering that you're bringing, obviously who you are, where are you coming to us from, and then what is the offering that you are bringing into this design for next Thursday. So who would like to begin this circle?
Okay. I can begin.
And then Rita, just to say, and then you pass the torch, the feather, the whatever you wish to the next person. So you will just hand off to someone else.
Okay. Do I name them or is it up in the air?
Name them. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm Rita George here in Mill Valley, California. I've been a transformational strategist over the last 40 years in politics and business. And I access two ancient imprints or blueprints that are within all humanity. One comes from Egypt, from goddess Isis, and that's the individual imprint that brings us all into harmony. And I come from an ancient indigenous culture, the Phoenicians, and their blueprint brings everybody into heart, social, and global coherency. So what I want to bring, if the group is open, is 7 ancient practices that come from the Phoenicians. This is all new research in the last 20 years, and it's all been validated by modern science because this blueprint is within all of us and humanity is waking up to it. So every single issue that is divisive in politics today or in various cultures is being discussed and is part of the imprint. So I'll have to go through it very fast since we only have 90 seconds, right? So 7 practices, heart social coherency. The first one is partnership amongst themselves and other people. They believed that everyone should be part of any venture. That means whether it was business, any community activity, everyone was a partner. So in their mind, there were no enemies, everybody is a friend. And so what they created is a democracy. One person, one vote for every single issue they ever decided upon in every city they lived in. And that was on 3 different continents and numerous cities. And they touched across the Mediterranean, trading with over 20 different cultures.
One moment. I'm just saying you've 90 seconds. So do you want to just
Okay,
name?
I'm just going to tell the rest of them. No, yeah. It's international trade, partnership with everyone, a peaceful resolution of conflicts. They didn't believe in war, so they never fought for 3,000 years. Religious tolerance, they accepted everybody's God, everybody's traditions and customs because they had a deep reverence with Mother Nature, who was the creator of all. All women were equal partners in all their ventures, whether it was business or community activities. They believed in equality. Everybody shared in the economy. It was all about the collective. And you had upper mobility and people, whatever. And the last one was privacy. Check your ego at the door. Don't talk about your achievements and your wealth. The wonderful thing is they wanted to have lasting relationships with people and deep respect and reverence for everyone. So that's a model I used in politics successfully in business for over 30, 40 years now.
Okay. Lovely. Who you want to pass to?
Let me see, Kim.
Well, hello, everybody. It's wonderful to connect, and the energies on this call are just delicious. So, Kim Conrad, I am from, I'm sorry? Kim Conrad, I am from Broomfield, Colorado. And this is the meeting I'm able to be in. And so I'm in a unique situation. There is a video that I have created called Being For, F-O-R, that is a recording of writing that I presented at a number of different conferences. My hope is that that can contribute to wherever Lesley and Kurt find that it's of greatest value. I've been asked to be a reflective observer for day 1, day 4, and day 5 that I can join in. And that means holding space and sharing some reflections if I have them, and supporting the conversations that follow the presentations on each of those days. There is another project that I am in the midst of doing, and it looks like we have some people participating, where I am coordinating, they're filming their own videos, much like the movie Human, if you've seen that. 30, 45 seconds for answering different questions in regards to peace, so that those can contribute throughout the week if that feels most appropriate, and we'll find out what is generated. So I'm here to be of service, and however this continues to unfold. Yeah.
And who are you passing to, Kim?
Oh, hello. How about Ellen? Hi. Oh, no. Oh, yes. Okay.
Hi, I'm Ellen Davidson, and I live up in the Redwoods of Humboldt County, far northern California. And someone here at Humanity Rising titled my presentation, Activating the Heart Through the Heart of Nature, which was incredibly perfect. What I want to share is actually coming from the old trees. I've been sitting and hiking alone mostly, averaging about 3 whole days a week for 11 years now. And it turned out to be a lot more than I could have ever imagined. It's been very mysterious, magical, but I've been really sensing the nature intelligences reaching out to all of us, reaching out to humanity, and really wanting to collaborate with us to create our garden paradise, that nature in balance. They feel very clear that this is a strong probability. This can be, it might take hundreds or 1,000 years to be at fruition. So when Ruth suggested I do this, it was on the heels of a dream I had. Humanity, people were sitting in a conference room in Africa, a white room around a table, and they were all talking to each other. And I was looking at this big, giant green gold snake, and I knew the snake had the answers, but the people were all looking to each other. And then this came up with Ruth, and so I ran out to the trees, what am I going to say? And actually what wants to come through, which I'll do to the best of my ability, is kind of a transmission, a little bit of a transmission from the trees that's going to help people soften and open the back of the heart chakra to enhance the ability to connect with the nature intelligences wherever anyone lives on the planetary body of our Earth Mother, and deepen this so we can go forward together, deeply listening to nature in the restoration. That's it.
That's all. Ellen, who would you like to ask in?
How about Pamela?
Hi, I'm Pamela, and I live in Ottawa, Canada, so we've got lots of snow here right now. And what I'm offering is a little 3 to 4 minute video about, I call this the ball of power. So I explain the movement of power in this, on this earth, and how it can be impactful, and the meaning of the transition. So because my background is I used to work as a techie, and then I worked as a management consultant. And so I'm very interested in systems and structures, and there's a lot of common principles in the tech systems as well as in human systems. And then I did some studying science, complexity science. So that's what I'm going to be, that's what I'm offering here.
And who are you inviting in, Pamela?
Diane.
Thank you, Pamela. It's good to see you all, and excuse me for moving around, but the inside of the house currently has some wet varnish. So I need to get out of the wet varnish smell. Anyhow, what I'll be offering, and I love all the flowers behind you, Ellen. What I'll be offering is a little bit about living values education. And that's a program where we invite people to explore and develop values around the world. We're currently in 40 countries. For 24 years, we've been working primarily with children, and it's been our honor to work in refugee camps and with street children. And we've currently expanded the program so that adults can do individual study and learn how to become facilitators online so they can do LVE study groups with communities of their choice. And so there's two main components. One of them is how to create an atmosphere where people feel loved, valued, respected, understood, and safe. And then the other part is exploring values and learning social and emotional skills. So my background is as an educational psychologist. I was a school psychologist for 23 years. So the activities for the kids are fun and involving. And I want people to know we've recently asked for a divorce from our esteemed publisher, so we can offer the materials as open source, completely free, if they want to download them from the website, because we feel that peace is so important. Caring for each other and valuing each other and being able to be in our own power and know what our own values are, and to create belonging and safety and community with others. This is the need of the time. So thank you all. I really am enjoying the presentations, and I look forward to getting to know each one of you. And I'll pass it on to Julie. Julie?
I love you. Next, Shiv.
Shiv, you're on mute. Shiv?
I think
there we go.
I always forget this little detail. It's an important detail, but I overlook it. And I attribute it to my age. I am another techie living in Canada, in Waterloo, Ontario. And I'm a civil engineer. That's my background. I do not come from spiritual or social science backgrounds. I am into spiritual research and researching different scriptures of main religions of the world. And what do they say about human nature, and how what is their perspective on human nature. And I see the perspective of all the main religions of the world, major scriptures, is the same. The universe was created in the same way, and they're all talking the same nature of nature. And so I come from that perspective, and with the idea of a holistic science that emerges if you study the scripture and if you study the social sciences and the science of evolution and natural sciences and life sciences, biology, psychology, philosophy, metaphysics, and the various scriptures and physics are connected. And that is what I bring to the table. And because of my technical background, I look at it from a scientific angle and try to apply. And the technology of transformation based upon this science. So that is where I come from. Thank you.
Thank you, Shiv. Who do you want to pass to?
Julie?
Julie went first. Do you want, how about, let's go to Kurt.
Kurt is left. I think Julie and Kurt, there are two left, so I just tossed a coin.
Well, I've been an educator all my life in the ghettos of Los Angeles, and I've taught all over the world, and I was blessed to meet Diane and the teachings of living values education and wanted to bring peace to the world. And I got turned on to this incredible team of after chatters after the Humanity Rising programs. And many of us were activists, and so I had the idea of creating a Department of Peace, and then we said, nah, 1984 had a Department of Peace, and we're gonna have a real thing that comes from the people. And that's the only way that it can be, because the people are the ones that are peaceful. The people are the ones that create a peaceful government. The people are the ones that create either a heaven on earth or hell. So we get to be able to touch the hearts and souls of the people. And it does it through the systems approach, like you mentioned about science and everything else, holistic approach about biomimicry and so on and so forth. It's magical. And me being somewhat of a polymath, I got to be able to bring all of that forth to create an offering that anybody and everybody can align with, because I've never, ever in all the 30 plus countries that I've been to, ever heard anybody say they don't want peace, that they don't want love for their family, and the same things everybody wants. And so here we are. We got a bonfire right now, and pretty soon it's going to spread around the world, and we're going to have everybody lit up like we're the sun now.
Thank you. So I'm Lesley, and the place that I go to when I think of the intersection of spirituality, reality, and intention is that it's what we don't yet know. And I think sometimes when we enter the subject matter of this nature, we have many who have incredible wisdom and beautiful science and unbelievable understanding of what this path is, what this peace looks like, how we can all get there. And I go, if we knew it, then why aren't we doing it? And if it's that universal, why is it not happening everywhere? And I appreciate that different people have different views, even about what I've just said. And that's what makes humanity brilliant, is that we all see these things in different ways. I'm an anthropologist by background, and I spent most of my career inside of cultural change, not cultural sustainability, cultural change, because cultures are very hard to change. We come by them honestly, and yet the very nature of how we move forward does not necessarily mean that we keep doing what we're currently doing. And so that's where I've been playing. And for the last 10 years, I spent my life on the Camino de Santiago in Portugal, where I was privileged to listen into thousands of conversations from people all over the world about the very questions that we're raising right now. And so I feel very honored and privileged to have been in those conversations in the midst of a reflection that usually changes one's life. The Camino does that. And so to be inside of that walk with thousands of people in that moment, it's just quite breathtaking and humbling and just beautiful. And so that's where I'm playing in this. And I'm so excited about, I've got some questions, and I'm sure others of you have questions of others who spoke. So may I just start with a couple of my questions, just to keep us connected? Diane, is the Living Values the program that's offered by the Brahma Kumaris? You're on mute, Diane?
The Brahma Kumaris were the initial seed of Living Values education, in that they did a project called Global Cooperation for a Better World, which went into 129 countries. Yeah. And they asked people, what do you want? And then the answers that came back, and this was people of all religions and all ages, and the answers that came back were essentially the same. Like someone was saying here, we all want the same thing, peace. So anyhow, they called 20 educators together from around the world at UNICEF headquarters, because the head of early childhood education, UNICEF in New York, had seen a chapter that I wrote for a Brahma Kumaris book celebrating the 50th anniversary of the UN. And so Living Values education was written by educators for educators initially. And the Brahma Kumaris supported that for 8 years until it became an international association of its own accord, which is called Association for LVE International. And that was so, it was clear that it was free of religion and politics. And was really for everyone, of any religion or no religion. So yes, the Brahma Kumaris were an initial, very important seed and very important support for the project.
Beautiful. I'm sure other people have questions. May I have one more question before other people have questions? Ellen, I want to know, nature speaks with when in different languages than we are trained in and schooled in. Doesn't mean we don't have that capacity. I appreciate we do, but I'm really curious as to how one awakens, learns the embodiment of how nature is wishing to speak or transmit herself to us.
That's a really big question, and there's lots of answers. It brings up what you mentioned about we don't know our potential as humans. Certainly lots of indigenous people have dreams about whales telling them things that really happen, and call a deer for sacrifice when they need food. We have all those stories. We've reified everything and boxed ourselves in Western civilization in particular, so that we're kind of a little deadened. And a lot of it, of what we can perceive, is what we pay attention to, what we focus on. And just as humans used to think animals didn't have feelings, and women and babies and children don't have feelings, and then you can do anything you want. We've done that with nature too. And so of course then we can chop it down. The opening that I experienced has happened multidimensionally. Some of it's just relaxing, and some of the perception is inspirations, ideas. It can get really mystical. It can be visions. It can be seeing lights in the forest. It doesn't have to be that. And but we're always in communication with nature because our bodies are nature. We are Gaia. We are the earth. And so she's always talking to us. It's just that it has to get pretty loud before we hear anything. And by then a lot of things have been damaged. I really sense that the ravaged parts of the earth are the outpicturing of the disconnected, disembodied, ravaged parts of the human psyche after the 2,000 years of horrific patriarchy and that we've all endured. And as we heal the radioactive waste dumps and the toxic dumps and the deforested places and the water and restore life on the planet, we're healing inside at the same time. It will go together. There really is no way, I sense, this is what comes to me, there's no way that we're going to have peace without also restoring the planetary body we live within and are part of. We're part of her, just like our microbiome is part of us, you know. We're a big influence, but we're not the big deal. And it's interesting, you know. So anyway, I think everyone can, including myself, can open more. And I think our capacities there are unimaginable. And some people, you know, there's a continuum of where we are on that spectrum. But the first thing is just to breathe, be present, and pay a little attention. For one thing, we're missing so much of the beauty that we, everywhere on the body of planet Earth, there's some natural beauty. And to not be in awe of that and allow that joy in our hearts is to live our lives dead. And we don't want to do that. We want to be alive. And as long as we're blessed to be alive, blessed by her, by the planet, by the earth that we're made of, as long as we have that incalculable blessing, it would be nice to appreciate it, I think. So that's part of the answer. I could go on forever on that one.
That was very beautiful. I was talking to a friend last night that I only talk to like once a year, and he told me that he was a city mouse when I suggested to him that he go to Yosemite. And that's one of my very favorite places on earth. And I just couldn't comprehend. So I told him, well, I'm not a city mouse. And Helen, there is one of the values in the Living Values Activities books for children is simplicity and caring for the earth and her oceans.
Oh, beautiful.
So there's stories and things they can do and a greater understanding and having them write a tree to a poem. And
even a city mouse is still constantly in contact with the elementals, and they're intelligent, but water and air, I mean, no one alive isn't in contact. So it can be however it is for each of us that we want to do it. We can do it in a city. We don't have to.
Yeah. So Shiv, as a scientist listening into this conversation, what emerges for you?
Well, it's all good. You know, science is one way of thinking. There are other ways of thinking, and there are other ways of perceiving life. And life is huge. It cannot be contained by science or in the heart. You know, we are head, heart, and hands, and we can use them all to perceive the reality in the world. And science seems to come from the head. And That is devotion, faith seems to come from the heart, and then service. And if we don't serve, then head and heart are useless. I think all three are essential.
Mm.
And there has to be a harmony between them. Sometimes my head says something, I do something else, and my heart says something totally different. And that if we cannot bring harmony in ourselves, we can't bring harmony in the world.
Mm. Very true. Very true. My question to all of us as we listen into each other is there are a lot of places for us to go to find our answers around these deep questions. I mean, I'd like just to offer that in a world in which connectivity is so vital, and with COVID allowing for so much space to connect with people and to go into different places to discover new insights, I'm curious as to what is the offering that we can bring to Humanity Rising that isn't anywhere else?
One of the things I'm feeling on this call is the beautiful energy that everyone has. Maybe that's a tiny bit of the answer.
I think if Humanity Rising can create a culture of some kind of contemplative practice, values and everything fall in place when people contemplate and they embody the goodness that life has to offer. And practice such like breathing practice can be taught even to 2-year-old or even before that, even when a child is unborn. If the mother breathes deep, when the child is born, 6-month-old child, mother and father both, hold them close to the heart and they breathe deep. The coherence of the heart of the deep breather gets transmitted to the coherence to the heart of the child. So the child learns to stay calm and breathe deep. This is something which is universal. Everybody breathes, and there is no spirituality there. That's the way we are built. When we breathe deep, our heart and mind and body, they are calmed. And we have a good check on our divisive instincts with which we are all born. We all bring those instincts, fear instincts, survival instincts that are divisive in nature. We all bring them with us when we are born. They are in the memory of our genes. And to overcome them, we cannot overcome them with learning. We can overcome them with practice. Keeping ourselves calm and deep breathing will work for everyone, right from day one, or I would say day zero, when you're conceived. That is when the problems start. If the mother is not in peace, the child that is going to be born is going to be, his brain is going to be already affected by the cortisol of the mother. The chemical soup in the body of the mother is going to be transmitted to the child. So this is science and technology in the service of humanity. I think that's the kind of culture that can be created. And it's free, and it's secular, and everybody does it. Everybody breathes, but they breathe too many times in a minute. All they have to learn is for a few minutes in a day, breathe slowly and breathe deeply. That's the gift of nature to everyone.
Thank you. Kim, thank you, Shiv.
I just want to start with, for me, my experience. I'm experiencing the communion and the integrating field growing as we continue our sharing. Two things come to mind for me, or come to the mind of my heart, or all the cells, or however we choose to say that. One is, and this stems from Shiv, what you just shared. I've rebuilt my body and my life 3 times. And as part of that, I've done rebirthing, and I've also done quite a bit of study about what goes on in the womb. Robin Williams, God bless, talked about a womb with a view, and it is, that there are 4 crises in the womb. And I realized that I could track, and most people are probably familiar with fractals. Are you familiar with fractals at all? Sacred geometry? I think I'm talking to the choir. Yes, great. Okay. And so I found in relational patterns, similar things on a small scale to a large scale. And I tend to learn stuff about the human body and then go, okay, so how does this fit the earth and the universe and so forth? So crises 3 is where the heart starts out above the head and it comes down and the body wraps around it. And that's our physical heart. And for me, looking at the last, 10 years or so, there's been so much focus about coming from our heart. And so for me, this crisis 3 is going on in the larger lexicon of this larger womb of the universe, if you will, so much longer cycles. Crisis 4 is where the now small baby, okay, turns upside down in most cases, turns upside down to come out and then stand right side up. And I've heard so many people, and even in the news, it's like everything is being turned on its head. Fascinating to hear this shared in many directions. And there's a lot of things that we've built our belief structures on, which we're now finding are actually, as enough evolution has occurred, there is the open space for this new understanding and this new way of being to be born, if you will. So the reason for sharing this is that when we really, and I can kind of relate to what everybody has shared, that when we really, humming is great. I take the U out and or ponder, or just be. We, all of us, to be sitting here, we've successfully navigated all of these crises to be born. So deep in the cells, in the life of our existence, we know how to do this because we've already done it. Is this making sense at all? Mm-hmm. So we know how, when we drop from, and all of this is a value. I mean, when it's working well, I'm really grateful that my liver's not having an identity crisis and wants to be my heart, and vice versa. It'd be a really challenging day, or my big toe doesn't want to become my eyeball. Fun ways of hopefully saying it. That we know. And so then I go to, okay, what ways do we enhance listening? What ways do we support the listening and the safety in the listening to the depth and breadth of our nature, which is all of nature, with which there is no separation. Because I seem to get messages all the time. So I've got listening capacity, and then it's how to help enhance, and life is always evolving. So there's always learning. So there's always going to be oopses, and there's going to be, gaps and so forth. There was one other thing. Most of us are probably familiar with heart math. Yes? Yeah, an extensive and phenomenal work. And I like to go a step further. I've done some activities and presentations and stuff. It's this thing again of small level to a big level. Well, we're cells of a larger being. We can call it Earth, and Earth is part of the universe and so forth. And we all have hearts, physical ones that we can actually visually see. And if you're scientifically oriented, agree that we all have hearts. And it pumps all the time. And it has all of these capacities, which heart math has so brilliantly and wonderfully documented. Well, if we all have hearts and we're all cells of a larger being, then why wouldn't every single cell of my body and all the spaces in between have at least the resonance of heart? And when I breathe into and speak from a heart field of all of me, which is really a collective of a lot of smaller all of me's, there seems to be another field that is created, which is in greater union. And so it might be to look at how we have been understandably, cognitively indoctrinated to separate things out to understand, without also including the and, as Rumi would say. You think you understand two because 1 and 1 equal 2, but you haven't understood and. And so that would be my offerings at the moment.
Wow. Yes. I want to bring Rita in. Rita, as you've been listening into this, where do you go in your mind, in your thought, in your being?
Well, I've worked with thousands of people. And so the way I always look at everything in the field of transformation, and that's what we're talking about, is many people will say to me, I had no awareness that my natural birthright was harmony, or my natural birthright was compassion, or I was actually born literally with fairness. I could name integrity, wisdom, any number of qualities that are spiritual practices and qualities. They don't know. All of a sudden, one day, they'll have an aha. So I believe everything begins with awareness, expanding people's awareness of what the possibilities are and who you really are. Then how do you focus your attention on it? Because intention is what creates it. And then how do you acknowledge that you're creating it? Because the subconscious and parts of our mind implement things at a deeper level when you can acknowledge this is the direction we're heading. Clarity, focus, direction, balance. And then we get to acceptance. I call it the 5 A's, and appreciation. Just practicing those 5 things start transforming people's lives. But they have to have that deep awareness to begin with. And that's the expansion and pacing people to see what is possible. Then they open up and say, I want that. I don't want to live with this fear. I don't want to live with this anxiety, this overwhelming, all the stuff they're living with right now that is so disassociated from harmony and peace. They don't know there's anything else many times. I'm serious. So that's just some of my practical experience and working with thousands of people for decades. And helping them get to that point where there is going to be not just the inspiration, but then they have to activate the courage to want to take action to transform themselves. because we're all talking about what has to be transformed within the individual. And now most people come up against a wall of resistance or struggling or striving. And what you really want is ease, and you want, joy and harmony in expansion. And that is possible. But you have to know what that means on an interstate of consciousness and awareness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what are you here? And we've got about 6 minutes left. So this is not going to happen in this next 6 minutes, because we're going to be sharing the dialogue that occurred an hour ago, and then this dialogue, so that you can listen into what's emerging as the invitation that we're being asked to take. But as you listen into this dialogue, what do you think the invitation is that we've been asked to take? Julie?
I better unmute myself. I'm not sure whether I understand what is meant by invitation. What are we talking about?
We've opened a space for 90 minutes to explore the intersection of spirituality, reality, and intention. And we've come together today to bring our gifts into that intersection. And therefore, where I go with that is that there's been an opening of an invitation for us to walk into that intersection. And I'm asking, what is the invitation you think that we're being asked to articulate and then deliver?
Inviting people to share the practice that in their experience can bring peace into an individual and through individuals to the world.
Who wants to keep going with that? So that's where we begin. Who wants to take that?
I saw Julie's hand. Julie, did you want to say something?
Sure. It seems to be expressed through everybody. I hear it everywhere. I just heard it in Shiv's. I hear it in your voice, in your gentle voice, Diane, and Ellen, and Kim, and the possibility of what's different is to acknowledge what's different than what's been on Humanity Rising before that I've perceived is we're here. We've got peace. It's available. Let's not forget that. Let's remember and return there. That's it.
Kim.
To piggyback on that, to really the capacity of our language and how we sentence ourselves every day, which is what I talk about, double meaning meant. That piggybacking on Julie, that there is a lot of peace. And so to not only recognize or recognize when there isn't, but to really appreciate, to be thankful for, and how do we expand what already is, in addition to what do we do when it appears not to be there. And I don't know, I've never had this thought before. What if when there is conflict, is peace trying to be born again, only we've misunderstood how to go about it?
Mm-hmm. That's, in hockey, we call that skating into the corner. The way that you just said that.
Well, aren't we talking about choice? We have a choice in every moment.
Mm-hmm.
The impulse of love and light is moving through us in every moment. We can choose conflict or we can choose harmony. We can choose for something or against something. One creates harmony, one creates conflict. So it's how vigilant are each of us willing to be and conscious and aware in the moment of what energy we are projecting and expressing. It's that simple. Seriously. Because, you know, I like to take, you know, something that's make it simple for people.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Let's get clear in every moment over the next hour. What are we thinking? What are we expressing? How are we feeling? Is it a conflict? Is it harmony? For or against? Resistance is against. Fighting is against. How many people out there today are resisting or fighting? And they're activists.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot politically achieve anything coming from resistance because you're just attracting more conflict and fear. That idea needs to be instilled in people's minds, something that simple.
Ellen, come on in. Thank you, Rita.
I wanted to backtrack to Lesley's original question about what makes Humanity Rising's Peace Week different than all the other offerings that are out there. And after listening to everyone's beautiful segues in, I think it's this multiplicity of voices. It's this bringing together of the spirituality, the reality, the intentions. It's not any one thing that's completely new and we've never found anywhere else and we can't find somewhere else. It's sort of the way it's coming together. So I just wanted to add that in.
Oh, well, such a great way to weave this conversation. And here we are at the 1 hour point of our dialogue. So this was not intended to be a finished sentence. This was to be a place where we pause. And what the work that we're going to, the process, I don't know what language to use at the moment, but I'm just going to say the next step is that we're going to collectively look at these 2 videos of offering. And what we're looking into is what's underneath all of this that's asking to be born. Mm-hmm. So we've been in this moment, and there's something that's really asking to come. And I think that if we sit inside these 2 conversations, that we will find, because all of you are the voices that are ready to come to this birth. And so it makes that sense that you will understand what is waiting to be born into the 4th day of Peace Week. So the steps are, we're going to send you the video of this one and the other, that we're going to listen to what is being asked to be born onto the stage on March the 4th. And then we're going to meet on Thursday. We'll identify a time on Thursday where we will come back together and bring into the space what is being asked to be born. And that will then finalize, to some extent, what's going to happen in terms of the curriculum for next week. What I do want to say very clearly is that there are multiple Peace Weeks are going to be occurring, and there's multiple spaces for this work to shine. So what happens on March 4th is only one version of what is being birthed right now. And so that's why it's really important that we don't think about Thursday as the Thursday. It is one of the gateways that we are giving air, oxygen to. There are multiple. So this is where we are in this moment. Kurt.
Kirk, you're muted.
A previous dialogue that we had today was with a lot of grandmothers, and it was so beautiful. And I happen to have my feet bare right now on what is called Chumash territory. The Chumash are the indigenous people of Southern California, at least one of the groups of indigenous. However, there's not a single boundary on Mother Earth. There's not a single border on Mother Earth. There's not a single border in the cosmos. We are the unity in diversity. We are the one and the many and the one, the Shiva and the Shakti, however you want to term it. This is the beauty of what we get to bring forth and clear, but again, there's a philosopher's stone to tune into that. That's why there's some incredible beings that radiate so much. You feel so full just being with them. That's what we are. We get to radiate this. We get to exude so people, places, things like this incredible land and the trees that are around, we resonate with them. We're total in harmony. The harmony was a beautiful word. I am so blessed, and we are so blessed. Excuse me for being possessive. But I thank you for being here.
I'd like to share one thing, if I may.
Please.
With your question of the invitation and what we all have in common, and the comment that we're all here, and then going back to Pamela's beautiful creation about power, and she opened it up. And so what I see is that we're like different points on that beautiful ball that she created, and that it really doesn't matter. What's important is that we're all offering different perspectives. But as Rita said, it's about awareness. It's about this opening of the heart into your own harmony. And so it's like together we're offering different little points on this beautiful ball. And then it goes, her model came back together, and then it expanded. So maybe we're all offering different ways for people to connect with the heart so that we can create and see each other and have harmony. Just a thought.
Oh.
Kim?
A little bit different, and yet I was talking with Shannon. I would love for all of us to have something that really calls so that we could share out about this happening next week. So I believe that's been in process, but I just wanted to plop that into the call.
So that's like to share on social media, to be able to have an image,
to invite participation.
Invitation. It's a beautiful request. Thank you.
I thought, sorry. So that's something that we'll talk that I thought that was already created. So I need to go back and find that out.
Well, Julie has sent me something, but I just want to confirm so we're all on the same page.
Yes.
And that mentioning it with all of us here and for everybody else to listen who's going to watch it, so that we can all be looking forward to an email and know that to begin sending things out.
So session 1, promote, please.
Well, the whole week is being promoted. So I just want to clarify that you're talking about, Kim, the notice for the Peace Week. Is that what we're referring to? Yes. So, okay. So Peace Week is, we are going, the writing of it has been done. I just have to clarify where it is in the process of getting it distributed. So yes, there is going to be that coming so that it can be shared. And yes, there's another tool that's going to be shared with you about how you can participate with sharing it with others using a new app that we're introducing called Scale. So there's the Peace Week is going to be offering a number of different experiments. And so the blast out to all to let them know to come and join us is very key. Also, we want to use different ways to do that. And so stay tuned. That is coming. Sooner than later, I appreciate here we are, TikTok, right? TikTok.
Cutting edge.
Okay.
Here we come.
What I'm going to ask is for someone to close our circle. Who would like to offer the closing of our circle for today? Kim.
So to all the grace notes that each of us is, and all the spaces are, and all the potentials of living embodiment, known and unknown, seen and as yet unseen, that are dancing on the airwaves through every cell of our being, through all of the spaces and all of the participants that join us. That this language and embodiment of peace exponentially unfolds with grace and ease to greater and greater living through all of the capacities and grace notes and voices that are speaking live and that are really the ancestors speaking also through all of us as we communicate and live what we came to be and do in this evolution of the embodiment of peace. Thank you.
That was resonance.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And we will be connected again. We will stay connected. Let's put it that way. We'll stay connected, but we'll see each other again in terms of where this goes next.
So Lesley, when are you talking about coming back together, specifically date and time?
Thursday, and we're not clear on the time.
I see. And how many people will be in that session? I mean, like 25, 30?
No, I think it will be, I think we'll be a smaller number for that one. We're just identifying it. So I just wanted to clarify. We will send out the message, and there will be probably a design already somewhat shaped.
That's okay.
So I just wanted to also clarify that being said, that we're coming together on Thursday, we are asking you to answer the question, what is being asked to be born, or what is the invitation we're being asked to step into. And that we'll be asking for before Thursday, so that after you watch the 2 videos, you are sharing with us what you see as the invitation. Yeah. It will be, I will write an email that's clear, and that email will go out today.
It's the Thursday of this week. I have to be at my ophthalmologist, so I won't be able to make it until very late at night. So I have to travel to get to him, and in Canada, snow and this, that, and the other. Really. So I may be able to join you, but if it is late.
Okay. Thank you for that, Shiv, and good luck on your travels, because yes, we do have snow in our part of the world, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
all right.
Get an appointment with.
Thank you, Lesley, for your incredibly beautiful job of facilitating. And I've really appreciated being on the call with all of you. So it's been a real joy.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
For
Thank
everybody's
you,
participation.
Yep.
And you will get an email later today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Keep loving. I love you.
Thank you, Julie.
Bye for now.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank everybody. Thank you.
Thank you all.